take the flip, the kick, the headbutt, and the taunt. Brr, throw in that and that. Looks good. Give me the field, too. Grab the stadiums, grab that, grab that. Do you have anything in a clothesline tackle? Good. Give me that. Give me the wave. No, no, yes. We'll take that. The dive. Party time. Let's do that and that. Not that, and that. Give me that again. Timeout. If it's in the game, it's in the game. John Madden Football 93 for Super NES and Sega Genesis.
Where'd that truck come from?
EA Sports. It's in the game.
CGQ Plus.
Talking about a sports game and sports in general today on episode 3 of Weekend Rental. I was kind of on the fence about making this a flashback episode, although at the end of the day, who really cares? But based on the game we're playing and the fact that I'm going to play it, we're going to make it a Weekend Rental episode. For those of you that aren't into sports games or into sports in general, sorry, I'll see you next week. And I realized kind of too late, not that it would have mattered, but it's episode 3 of Weekend Rental, and it's yet again a Genesis game. People ask me, what's your favorite console? And I'm always very non-committal, but I've said it before, the Genesis is clearly my favorite console to talk about on the show. And so I was going to talk about, we're going to get to the game in a second, but sort of the theme of this episode is sort of sports disappointments. And I'll explain why when we get to the game itself. But because we're going to try to right a wrong. I don't know. I don't want to say, I didn't get into sports really, I would say, until I was maybe 12. I got into baseball first, and that was when I was younger, but it was more just the World Series is on and my dad's watching it, so I'll watch it with him. And I talked about that in an episode of Flashback that, memories of watching, I believe it was the 85 World Series when the Royals won. Anyway, we talked about that already, but, I grew up in the 80s, and that was during the 49ers dynasty. But, I'd be lying if I said that I was really that into the Niners at that time. I spent most of the 80s, I guess not most. I spent a lot of the 80s living with my dad, who was really a very casual sports fan, and especially football, because he was more of a baseball guy. And so it certainly in our house was not any kind of Sunday ritual that we were going to watch football just because it was on TV. Whereas later with my mom, it kind of was a Sunday ritual. So, I didn't really jump on the 49ers deal until 89, and we'll get to that in a minute. But what I was going to say about, sort of being disappointed in the outcome of sporting events is, and I think I might have mentioned this on the podcast, but, as I get older, that stuff just doesn't seem as important as it did, when I was younger. And this is April now, so that was I guess 3 months ago or 2.5 months ago, the Niners lost the NFC Championship game in a pretty crappy way. And, I'd say 30 minutes after the game was over, I was over it. You drink a beer, play some Sonic the Hedgehog, and I'm good, But when I was younger, that wasn't the case at all, and it might be sort of stuck in my craw for months, especially during the off season. And probably the biggest example I could think of as far as that goes, besides the main one we're going to talk about, would be the 98-99 Red Wings. Because in the late 90s and early, what are we calling them now? The aughts? I don't know. Hockey was really my number one sport, especially the Niners kind of went off a cliff. And I got really interested in hockey, and I was a Red Wings fan. And I've talked about why before, but they were the 2-time defending Stanley Cup champions, the 98-99 season. And, I certainly thought that they were going to win a 3rd championship in a row. I guess sort of not realizing or thinking about how hard that is to do. And, I'm enough of a fan that I would watch every single televised Red Wings game. I don't live in Michigan, so I couldn't watch every game, but I always knew when ESPN was going to show a Red Wings game. and I made sure that I watched all of them, and I even used to stick a tape in the VCR and tape them just in case something cool happened, like fights or whatnot, especially if we were playing like the Avalanche or whatever. But so 98, 99 comes around, and I'm just thinking, I'm settling in for a long playoff run. Like it's early April, playoffs are starting. They call playoffs the second season, because it by itself lasts almost 2 months. And when your team is one of the elite, you're just assuming that you're going to get to watch your team, play every single game for like the next couple of months. And that of course didn't happen. And I don't remember who they played in the first round. I want to say it was the Ducks, which back then I think were still called the Mighty Ducks. Whoever the Red Wings played in the first round, they swept them in 4 games. Second round comes around. They're playing the Avalanche, the hated Avalanche. Probably the fiercest rivalry, I would have to say, that I've ever seen. Like, maybe, was it the fiercest rivalry ever in the history of sports? That might be stretching things. But I've never seen anything like that rivalry before or since. And anyway, we're playing, I say we, the Red Wings were playing them in the second round. They win the first 2 games, so I'm feeling pretty good. And then they go on to lose 4 games in a row and get knocked out of the playoffs. And that was something I had to carry around with me all summer, because not only did they get knocked out, but they got knocked out by the Avalanche. And I would have been 21, 22 at that time, so still pretty young. And like I said, I watched all the Red Wings games that I could, and so I was very emotionally invested in that. And so that was pretty crushing. And then to make matters worse, the following year in the playoffs, they get knocked out by the Avalanche a second time. So not fun. And the only other, if I want to think about big sports disappointments from my younger years, there's the 2002 San Francisco Giants, who lost in 7 games the World Series to the Angels, who I think by then they were called the Anaheim Angels, pretty sure. And but I'd be lying if I said I was some kind of huge Giants fan at that time. So I had only been living in Northern California for a couple of years, so I was kind of a newbie Giants fan, and I didn't even follow the team that closely that year. So when I watched, I think, every game of the World Series, but when they lost, it was just kind of like, I've been emotionally invested in this for about a week and a half, so it's not that big of a deal. But the first time I was ever, like, really, not to keep using this phrase over and over again, emotionally invested in a sports team, and then, had my hopes crushed, was the 1990 NFL season, which was probably, I'd say that was like the second year that I closely followed the 49ers. Like, I think I watched every game of the 89 season, but then of course they won the Super Bowl. And I did the same thing in 1990. And, we as Niners fans all thought that they were going to three-peat, win a 3rd Super Bowl in a row. And they ended up in the NFC Championship game against the New York Giants, who were very well known for their defense. Not that they were slouches on offense, but they of course had the great Lawrence Taylor on defense, and that's really what the team was known for. Niners, of course, had a good defense, but I think were primarily known throughout the 80s, for the offense, for Joe Montana and Jerry Rice. And that game turned into a pretty big defensive battle. It was a very good game. I'd say it was one of the best games ever, really. And I'm not going to go through a whole recap of the game, but just to sort of explain what happened and why I was like crushed. Fourth quarter, I don't remember when in the fourth quarter, I don't know, midway through it or something, Joe Montana gets knocked out of the game. Gets hit in the back, doesn't see it coming. Not by Lawrence Taylor, but Leonard, his name was Leonard something, I think. Gets hit in the back, and he was just all kinds of messed up, like bruised ribs. Somehow his stomach was messed up, which how does that even happen? And then his sternum was bruised too. I don't know. And his elbow got messed up because he was out. Nobody knew at the time he was just knocked out of the game. But not only would he not have been able to play in the Super Bowl if the Niners had gotten there, but he had to sit out the entire 1991 season. That's how messed up he was. But anyway, so he's out. Steve Young comes in, and the Niners have the ball with like 3 minutes left. And the score, to give you an idea of what a defensive battle this was, the score was 13-12 in favor of the Niners. And with less than 3 minutes left, you're thinking, okay, what do we need? Like a 1 or 2 first downs, run the clock out, and we're out of here. But with like 2.5 minutes left, Steve Young hands the ball to Roger Craig to just run it up the gut. And like this image is like seared in my memory. I remember I was at my stepmom's house for some reason. I wasn't watching the game with my mom, which probably would have been my preference because I have my mom to thank for me being a football fan and a 49ers fan. Like she was a very dedicated fan, whereas like my dad and my stepmom were, like I said, just bandwagon fans. And of the three of us, I was the only one that was really like into the game and like very nervous. And I remember I was behind the couch, like on my knees, so that I just sort of had like my head, like not like I was hiding, but like, I had my arms on the back of the couch and just sort of had my face buried in it because my nerves were just killing me. And I just remember seeing, I don't remember who it was that hit Roger Craig right, just hit the ball, like stuck his shoulder right in the ball, just like you're supposed to. And that ball just came squirting out the back. And it was Lawrence Taylor that sadly recovered the fumble. And Giants were able to put a few plays together, get down into fairly easy field goal range, and kick a field goal and won the game 15-13. And I don't know. I think the only thing I could say is I felt just like disbelief, right? Because to me, it was like, I just took it for granted. Of course, the 49ers are going to go to the Super Bowl. And at that point they were undefeated in the Super Bowl. So you think, well, yeah, they're going to go to the Super Bowl and then they're going to win the Super Bowl. And so when that happened and the way it happened, with the last second field goal, I was just really, really crushed. And, again, Montana was out for an entire year. That was Roger Craig, the great Roger Craig. That was his last game in a 49er uniform, which was sad. I think he ended up going to the Raiders, if I remember correctly. But yeah, I mean, it was one of those things where, because I was a kid, because I would have been like 13 when that happened, it's like, I took it real hard. And so maybe it's for the best I didn't watch the game with my mom, because I mean, I think she would have felt the same way, although as an adult, I'm sure it wasn't quite as bad. But, we did watch the Super Bowl 2 weeks later, but my mom used to like kind of do it up a little bit for the Super Bowl. I mean, she would make like fresh salsa and guacamole. My stepdad wasn't my stepdad yet, but he would come over and watch the game, even though he wasn't really into football that much. But, we had lots of, soda and snacks. She would get like those, remember they used to make those Casey Masterpiece Lay's barbecue chips? She would always have those. But the 1990 Super Bowl, we didn't do any of that. In fact, we didn't even watch the game in the living room on, I'll say, the big TV. But, it's one of those wooden console TVs. And, it was 20-something inches. But, back then, that's how big people's TVs were, unless they had like those crazy big screen TVs. But we didn't watch it on that TV. I remember we watched it in the kitchen. And my mom must have been cooking or something. I don't remember. I just remember we had the game on like the little 13-inch TV that sat in the kitchen. And that's where we watched it go down. And I think that game to me, like, I mean, that was the Super Bowl for the ages. It's, sad for me that the Niners weren't in it, but you talk about what happens when an unstoppable force meets an immovable object. You had the crazy Bills offense that won the AFC Championship game 51-3 against the Raiders. I don't know if that's a record, 51-3, but if it's not, it's got to be close. Going up against, as I said, this amazing defense in the Giants, and get to the end of the game. The Giants were up by 1 point. I can't remember. I want to say it was 20-19. Is that right? I feel like it was either 20-19 or 30-29. But I feel like it was 20-19. I should have looked it up. But the Bills are able to get down to something like the 30-yard line-ish. Was it the 30? Maybe it wasn't. I remember it set up with like 2 seconds left. It set up a 47-yard field goal attempt. And, very famously, Scott Norwood, the kicker for the Bills, kicks the ball and it goes wide right. Like, just go to any Bills fan, or really any football fan, and just say wide right, and they'll know what you're talking about. And they missed it. They missed the kick, and the game is over, and the Giants won. And we were very disappointed by that because we were rooting for the Bills, just because we're not going to root for the Giants, that's for sure. And I mean, we never really had anything bad to say about the Bills anyway. I always wanted to see the Bills play the Niners in a Super Bowl, and that, of course, never happened. But it's funny because, the Niners won the Super Bowl in 89, and then the Bills went to and lost 4 Super Bowls in a row, and then the next year the Niners won the Super Bowl again. So then the Bills' failure in the Super Bowl 4 years in a row was bookended by 2 49ers championships, but the two teams never got to meet. But we were rooting for the Bills, but like I said, we weren't taking the game that seriously because we were watching it in the kitchen. And I don't know. I always felt very bad. I'm sure that Scott Norwood, that's the thing that he's famous for, and that really sucks. But his record kicking field goals over 40 yards on natural grass, he was like 1 for 5 that year or something. So, it was always going to be sort of a toss up, or not even a toss up. So, but anyway, that was just like, I was watching that game and I was still upset about the Niners losing, and that didn't go away for a while, especially because, that started this whole rivalry of the Niners versus the Cowboys. And then that was just like getting knocked out. Because what was that? That was 3 years in a row, I believe, that the 49ers and the Cowboys faced each other in the NFC Championship game. And it was 92, 93, 94. And Cowboys knocked the Niners out twice in a row. And it's the same thing. I was just a teenager, and you take those losses pretty hard. But anyway, why am I talking about all that? Well, I'm getting to it. You already know the game that we're playing today, the focus of this episode, because it's in the title and the thumbnail. But we're taking a look at John Madden Football Championship Edition, which, I don't know, if you're not big into collecting games and you're not into sports games, maybe you're not familiar with this game. So that's why I'm here. So this came out in like December of 1992, which from what I read is the same time that Madden 93 came out. And what Championship Edition basically is sort of an official, if you want to call it that, like an official ROM hack, really, of Madden 93. I should say, before I go any farther, in my opinion, Madden 93, greatest football game of the 16-bit era. And so therefore, by extension, this is also the greatest, because it's just a ROM hack, like I said, greatest football game. In fact, I would say this, like, obviously in 93, you might want to have just the regular game. This also, by the way, this was the last, these two together, I suppose, last Madden football game to be unlicensed. Because starting with 94, they had the NFL license. So maybe my point in saying that is maybe back then, you might want to have Madden 93 because you wanted to have all the teams that were in the league, even though they were only in there by the name of the city. It was quite obvious. And then have all the players, which, again, there's no player names, but there's numbers. So, you know what time it is. And so I could see maybe back then you're like, well, no, I'd rather just have regular Madden 93. But I think now, if you're a retro gamer who's into sports games like I am, I think that Championship Edition is the one to have. So what's the difference? So this has 30 some odd, does it say on here? Yeah, 38 championship teams since 1966. So it's like every team that won the Super Bowl or the NFL championship game going back to 1966, plus some teams that didn't win the Super Bowl, but I guess were thought of as being good enough to be included. And then it also has, I think there's like two all Madden teams, because I think one of them is like a Madden all-time team, and the other one is maybe the Madden, like all Madden 92 team. We'll have to check. I don't remember what the two Madden teams are, but it lets you take these great teams in history and have them play each other, and that's pretty neat. But sort of the special thing, aside from everything I just said, the special thing about this game is, I don't know if you can read right there. It says rental store exclusive. And, for a long time, that was the only thing I would ever see anybody say about this game online is, oh yeah, the game was rental only, which is not, strictly speaking, is not true. The only place you could get this game was video rental stores, at least for a while. Although I found on Usenet, I found a post from somebody from back then saying that they were able to get the game at Die Hard Game Club. And I don't know if Die Hard rented games and that's how they were able to get this. And I only say that because like Games Express, which is another one of these LA-based mail order game places that you always see advertised in the back of like EGM or whatever, they did rent games. And so I don't know if you could go into Die Hard Game Club back in the day, if you could rent a game, and if that's how they were able to get copies of this game from EA. I'm really not sure, but you could rent this game at video stores. I think you could buy this game at video stores, and then at some point, EA, and again, I found this on Usenet from back in the day. Although actually credit to SegaRetro.org, because they're the ones that linked. I didn't actually find it on Usenet. I found it on Sega Retro. Somebody that writes for them is the one that found it on Usenet. But according to this Usenet post, at some point, EA had like 1,000 copies of this game that they sold via mail order, like direct. Like you could call EA and order the game, and it was $89.99. So that's pretty crazy. But that kind of explains why, I would always hear people talk about how that was rental only. And I said that can't be the case because, there's so many copies of this game out there that are clearly not in like previously rented condition. Like, I mean, this particular copy of the game, it's not perfect, although I'd say the cartridge itself is pretty perfect, but it's in good used condition. Whereas, if it had been a rental game, it would have the stickers all over it. And, probably the manual would be either missing or beat up, and it's not. So there you go. I don't know. Do I have anything else to say about the game? I don't think I do, but we're going to load it up. I got the Mega SG out again. So once again, I don't actually need to use the cartridge, but it just feels lame not to. What did I say a couple episodes ago? Smoke them if you got them. And I guess that made Corey laugh. So we will switch the view over. Hey, and you see the Mega SG interface, and we're going to run the cartridge, and that's going to load. And we'll go through. I'll show you some of the teams real quick. But so the whole reason I brought up the whole Super Bowl 25 thing is that's actually the default option in here, is to replay Super Bowl 25. And that's what we're going to do. And we're going to play as the Bills, and we're going to see if we can beat the Giants. But first, we'll check out, in fact, I'm going to move here a little bit to make it more comfortable. Here is the title screen, which looks just like the title screen, basically, of Madden 93, except that it has Championship Edition added. So yeah, here you can see that the default option here, it's Buffalo 90 against New York 90. But we'll check out what some of the other teams are here. San Francisco 89, Cincinnati 88. So I guess it's not all the Super Bowl champions, because of course San Francisco won the Super Bowl in 88 as well, but you don't really need to have them in there twice. So it's kind of cooler that you got the 88 Bengals in there, 87 Denver. They didn't win that Super Bowl. Washington did. There they are. So you could replay the 87 Super Bowl, New York 86, New England 85. I remember watching that Super Bowl, I believe. Did I against Chicago? No, I didn't watch that one. Which one did I watch? I don't remember. When was the next time? Oh, it was 87. That's right. Anyway, who cares? There's San Francisco again, 84. Miami 84, so you can replay that one if you wanted to. Raiders 83. Redskins 82. Cincinnati 81. San Francisco 81. Like, et cetera, et cetera. We don't need to look at all of these, but, you know, and there's some of the great Steelers teams of the 70s with Terry Bradshaw, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Oh, yeah, here we go. The All Madden. So it's All Madden and All Madden Greats. So I don't know if that's... Maybe All Madden was just taking the All Madden team from Madden 93, and then All Madden Greats is like a all-time team. Not really sure, but anyway... we're ready because we're playing New York versus Buffalo. So which team's the home team, though? Because I don't want to be... Well, we'll see. I might have to restart the game if this... Usually Team 2 is the home team, but I'm not sure. So, okay, and we're not going to... I'm going to leave the quarter length at 5 minutes because I don't want this video to be 9 million years long. And I'm not going to change the stadium type or the weather. So you can see here on paper, you know, Buffalo is actually slightly favored, but we're not going to wait and watch that whole thing. So, oh no, it's gonna make me play as the wrong team. So let me just reset it real quick. Sorry about that. So we want to be one visitor. There we go. See, painless. I've always been a tails man my whole life. Kickoff or receive. You know, it's funny. When I was growing up, it was standard that if you won the toss, you always wanted the ball. And I feel like now it's the opposite. But yeah, I'm going to start off on defense. And I will warn people when it comes to, like, you know, picking plays and whatnot. I'm pretty basic. You know, obviously there's, you know, it's Madden, so there's tons of plays to choose from. But, you know, I'm kind of more of the opinion. I don't think it makes that big of a difference. It's not like this game has some kind of advanced AI. So it's more just like, you know, find a few plays that you're comfortable with and just roll with those. And I really do the same thing on offense. So, and there's a couple things that, you know, I do in this game that are kind of cheap. And one of them is I always bring this guy right up to the line and basically try to shoot through this gap. Which sometimes works and sometimes doesn't. It's just it gives you a good chance to try to sack the quarterback. So, because sometimes you can just make it through unblocked, and sometimes you can't. And I should have had that guy on the last play, but I didn't. All right. Well, they only got 4 yards, but it would have been cool if we had been able to recover that fumble. So what is it now? It's 4th and 2. Yeah. I mean, I also find in general, like with this game, like your play calling should kind of lean heavily towards attacking the quarterback. He's got it easily there.
First down.
I guess it bears mentioning that this game is also going to be more difficult than just playing Madden 93 because, like, hold on. See, that guy should have been mine. Because like, all the teams are good. So it's like, Madden 93, you could be a good team like the Niners, for example, and then you could play, a crappy team. And because, the game doesn't have a difficulty setting. So like that kind of is the difficulty setting, is just play a team that sucks, which in this game you can't do. I almost had the quarterback there, but all right, 3rd and 6. I'm going to go with a short zone.
Set. Hot. 28. Hot. Hot.
Nice. All right. Oh, are you kidding me? One thing I've noticed, this game is very generous with giving out pass interference calls, although it goes both ways. So we may very well be the beneficiary of just such a call later.
Set. Red. Hot.
Where they're in the 30s, so they're sort of on the outskirts of field goal range, so we would really like to stop them here if possible. Because a lot of times with these older Genesis games, I feel like the computer, or whatever you want to call it, is really not very good at kicking field goals. Oh, got him. Nice. That was me. And apparently he's going to feel that one tomorrow. All right, it's 3rd and 14. So, yeah. Going to do some zonage here. Because not only do we not want him to get the first down, we don't really want to let him back into easy field goal range either. So even if we let him pick up 10 yards, that's still not good for us because they're probably going to score. No more pass interference. So nice. And then we'll see if they're going to tell us. I don't know. They're going to try to kick a field goal. So we're going to go field goal block. But, man, kicking from the 33, that's like what, like a 48-yard field goal or something?
Red. 28. Red. Hot.
Yep, see? No good. That's what I'm saying. I don't know what it is. It's like the computer player. I was 49 yards. The computer player, whatever you want to call it, it's not good at kicking field goals, man. Can I pick a play here or what? Oh, what are you doing? All right, sorry. Normal, pro form. I'm really big into this halfback toss left play for whatever reason. Like, I feel like I have pretty good luck with it. And then I'll show you, this is the other. Anybody who's a veteran of the older Madden games kind of knows about this exploit, if you want to call it that. That's when you know you're going to get nailed. Oh, I didn't do it in time. When you know you're going to get nailed, you tap A and you dive like 5 yards. Like, it's comical. But, it's cheap, but why would you not do that if you can, right? So this is another running play, but we're going to run to the right this time. So there you go. See, because I knew I wasn't going to make it. Dove. And even diving at an angle, I got 7 yards and a first down. So there you go. And now it's first down. So, like, to me with this game, it's like, if you're going to pass, you're better off passing on first down. If you don't make it, you can run 2 plays in a row. So that's what we're going to do. I don't like any of those. There we go. Play action.
Set. Red. Hot. Hot.
That was terrible.
He's on his back.
Yeah, I'm on my back. All right, 2nd and 24. So we got 2 plays to pick up 24 yards. So, as is the case in actual football, now that means, we pretty much have to go to the air. And, I don't know how good the AI is in this game, but you'd think they would be calling plays, defending against the pass, which it currently certainly looks like that's how they're lined up. Oh.
One didn't have a chance.
All right. Last chance. I'm going to bring in my hands, peeps. Yeah. All right. Normally, I'm also pretty big into like going for it on 4th down, but this is the Super Bowl, so no time for that kind of buffoonery. All right, so we didn't pick up the 1st down, but we got 7 yards. So I guess from just a position game perspective, that's good. And then obviously we're punting the ball, so.
Set. Red. Hot. Hot.
Oh, that was a terrible punt. Good Lord. Might as well have just gone for it on 4th down.
Third down.
Whoa. All right. This whole trying to shoot through that gap thing is not really working that well. They have a good O-line.
Red. Hot.
Oh, I almost had that guy.
What a hit.
Couldn't wrap up.
Set. Red. Hot.
Oh, damn it.
That one didn't have a
Well,
chance.
at least they can get pass interference called again. All right, 3rd and 7. Where's the little short zone? Yeah, short zone. I guess I should have gone medium zone, really. I also need to remember to get my hands up when I get in the quarter. You can hit C to put your hands up in the air, and you can tip passes. Nice. I had nothing to do with that. That was just good luck.
Set. 28. Hot.
I hit the dive button, but like a split second too late. Ooh, we're gonna do a sweep right.
Set. Hot. Hot.
That's not gonna work.
You'll feel that one tomorrow.
I feel like I didn't have any blockers really with me there. 2-minute warning. See, this is why I deferred those. I want the ball back. All right, halfback counter.
Set. Red. 28. Hot. Hot.
Good Lord.
Remember that number.
All right, well, might as well throw one up there. It's funny because normally I want to let the clock run down as much as possible, but then it's hard when you're trying to make a video because I don't want people to have to sit here and watch the clock countdown. But
28. Hot.
I'm assuming we're not going to be able to. Got it. I was assuming we weren't going to be able to convert there, but we did, and now I'm going to stop the clock. Sticking with my hands group.
Set. Hut. Hut. Fumble.
Are you joking? Oh, he's taking that back. We're done. Oh! It's not going to matter, but that's still awesome.
First down.
I mean, at this point, they're close enough they can just quarterback sneak it.
Set.
In fact, they're stupid if they don't.
Hut.
Oh, I could have had that guy. Man, how much time is even left? Probably not enough to even do anything.
Set. 28. Hut.
Oh, 48 seconds. I mean, maybe we can try to do something, but it's going to be a lot of just throwing the ball up in the air and praying, and so we might end up just throwing another interception.
First down. Set. 28. Hut. That was a perfect pass.
I agree.
First down. Set. Hut. Hut.
All right, that was the last time out.
First down. Set. Red. 28. Hut. That's the way to hit him.
I mean, does it really matter, dude? Come on, 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 come on.
Hut.
What are you doing? Yeah. I don't understand why it took so long at the end there. Where was that guy going? All right, what do we got? All right, we got 6 first downs. They've only got 2. That's crazy. We have 95 total yards, and they only have 22. So if it wasn't for that defensive score, we'd be looking pretty good. And look at that. Jim Kelly, 7 for 8, although only 68 yards. But not too bad. Anyways. Anyway, we get the ball back, so that's good. Sorry, I'm slouching. Why is this guy so slow? It's like that guy was running with like concrete shoes on.
Down. Set. Hut. Hut. 28. Red. Hot. Interception.
What? This is going poorly. I mean, you can rewind the video and watch. I felt like that guy was open when I threw it.
Set. 28. Red. 28. Hot.
There you go. All right. 6-yard loss. Not that it matters that much, but. Come on.
Set. Hot. Red. Hot. Hot. What a hit.
All right. Medium zone this time. 3rd and 13.
Set. 28. Red. Hot. Hot.
All right. Forced a field goal attempt at least. Hopefully they miss. I feel like I'm getting too fancy on offense and not running the ball enough.
Red. 28. Red. Hot.
Yes! That was me!
First down. Set. Hot. Hot.
See, there you go. See the diving thing. See, normally I'm just really big into running the ball, but I don't know. I guess I felt like because I'm on video or whatever, I'm trying to like spice it up,
28.
but it ain't working. So
Hot. First down.
picked up the first.
Set. Red. 28.
No.
28.
Oh, damn it.
Hot. Hot.
Well, that worked. I pushed the wrong button and called an audible, and then that happened, so that's cool.
First down.
That end around does not, in my opinion, work well. Halfback toss and pass is kind of fun. But again, we're not going to get fancy. I really like to try to get this game tied up. So
Set. Hot. Hot.
there we go.
You'll feel that one tomorrow. Set. Red. Hot. First down.
All right, nice. I didn't even realize I didn't realize I picked up the first down until the little guy said so. So that's good.
Set. Red. Hot.
No.
28. Red. Hot. 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 Touchdown.
Boom. Done. About to be a tie game, we hope. I don't know. It's just hard, you know, like I said, you know, it's hard to pick favorites, but just like,
28.
how can you not say this is the greatest game console ever? I don't know. You know, obviously, if I had been like, you know, a kid with, you know, if my family had money, I would love to have had a Genesis and a Super Nintendo back then. And, you know, obviously, I missed out on a lot by not having one, Super Nintendo, that is. But, you know, I would definitely not go back in time and change anything. Sorry, Ladybird sleeping by my feet, so making sure she's okay.
First down.
All right, that's it. We're going into the fourth quarter tied up. We're going to blitz the crap out of them and run the crap out of the ball. That's the game plan.
Set. Hot. Hot. Hot.
And I thought I had him. Quarterback, that is. All right, they're bringing in their hands, dudes. So, just going to play his zone. I mean, I think if I remember correctly, if they say that their hands guys are coming in, that's kind of a tip off.
Red. Hot.
Maybe not.
Hey, he'll remember
I was going to say that's a tip off if they're going to pass the ball, but obviously that's not what happened there. So now it's 3rd and 11. So let me think like, I couldn't make up my mind fast enough.
Set. 28. Red. 28. Hot.
Ooh, all right. That is not enough for anything. 4th and 5. What's happening? We punting? What are you doing? Yeah, good. Punt rush is what we want to do. Because again, much like I blocked that field goal, you can block punts. I mean, I guess probably in theory you can tackle the punter, but the better thing to do is just get as close as you can and get your hands up in the air and hope for the best. Oh, there you go. Wow, that's very good.
First down.
Now, let's just try not to turn the ball over. And really, with 3:17 left on the clock, I should be trying to milk the clock while I'm at it, but
28.
it just feels so cheap. Although I'm already doing the... what are you doing? He's so slow.
That's the way to hit him.
I'm already doing the dive thing, so at some point I feel like, well, that's a bit too much. I'm going to call the same play, but I'm bringing the normal guys back in. That hands guy was too slow.
Set. Hot. Hot. Red.
No.
28.
Well, whatever.
28. Hot.
First down? Yep. Did I stay in bounds too? No, he went out of bounds. Boy, I thought that play was getting blown up. Where's the other? Here we go. I'm going to run to the right again this time. I mean, at this point, I feel like we're in field goal range, so I'm mainly... Not that the field goal is a gimme in this game, but, you know, mainly I just feel like I just don't want to screw it up. There you go. Ooh, halfback toss right. Let's try that. Although, based on where we are in the field, we should really be going left instead of right, but that's okay.
Set. 28.
Because that's what they're thinking, too.
Hot.
All right. 2-minute warning.
Down.
I mean, at this point, I can probably quarterback sneak it, but we got to take some time off the clock, buddy. All line. All right. We got to try to take some time off the clock anyway.
Set. Red. Hot. Hot. Touchdown.
Nah. I'm not going to on purpose not score. That's foolish.
Set. Red. Hot.
All right, we've scored 14 unanswered. Now let's try to just get a good kickoff here to bury him deep. Nope. It was okay, but that could have been quite a bit better. All right, they're starting off at like what? Yeah, 32.
First down.
All right, well, I'm not changing anything I'm doing. So, blitzing is on the menu.
Set. 28. Red. Hot. What a hit.
Now they're using their timeouts. Move this guy over a little bit. Just got to be careful not to get into the neutral zone because the game will nail you for that.
Red. Hot.
Nice.
You'll feel that one tomorrow.
So what is that like? Yeah, 3rd and 20. All right. Where's well, let's go wide zone, I guess. I was looking for the prevent, but I forgot where that is.
Set. Red.
Maybe it's
28.
nickel.
Hot. Hot. Interception.
Well, there you go. Move. All right. There you go.
First down.
I'll tell you what, if it wasn't a one-score game, I'd be calling a lot of passing plays here, and I'd be trying to score again. But and if we do score again, great. But I'm worried more about ball security at this point, especially since we've already turned the ball over a couple of times. So
28. Hot.
we know that that's a strong possibility. So, and they're out of timeouts. Nope, now they're out of timeouts. I thought they were already out of timeouts.
Set. Red. 28. Red. Hot. Hot.
Couldn't get around the corner.
That's the way to hit him.
Now we can run it down to like 15 seconds. So let's take a look at the playbook and see if we see something else. I'm going to stick with normal so we don't have to change out our personnel grouping. Go near. Fullback lead right might be. We haven't done one of those yet. So do that.
Set. Hot. Hot. Hot.
And that's going to do it right there. Now we can just run the clock out. So I was worried. I'm not going to lie to you. Well, here, I want to wait. We'll check out the stats here at the end. I was concerned. I played a practice game a few days ago. And the same two teams, and I beat the Giants like 42-0. And I was like, okay, cool. But to be honest, I think this was a much better game. So less scoring, obviously, if that's what you were here for. And let's see how the stats shook out. 14-7, we knew that. I got 11 first downs, only allowed 2. That's very good. 210 total yards. Wow, New York only managed 23 yards, 16 rushing and 7 passing. That's, I mean, obviously that's highly unrealistic, but even for a video game, I got to say I'm quite proud of that. What else we got? We never did sack the quarterback, so that's too bad. But other than that, time of possession favored us only slightly. So, and Jim Kelly ended up 8 for 11 with 1 interception. So, not too bad. I don't think there's anything else really to show here. Yeah, you can watch game highlights. We're not going to do that. So, what are we going? Camera 1? Yes, camera 1. Turn that off. So there you go. There was some chit chat about sports, and then we played John Madden Football Championship Edition. I should have said this at the beginning of the video, but I didn't. Although I did show this when I got it. This was sent into the show a few years ago now by a good friend of the show and a friend of mine personally too, I would say, Michael up in Lake Oswego, Oregon. So thank you very much again for sending this in. In my opinion, just closing thoughts, it's kind of summarizing what I already said. If you're only going to play one football game on the Genesis, in my opinion, well, it's one of these two. But, you know, if you're trying to recreate the 93 season, I guess go for this. But other than that, play this one. I mean, this game's not cheap if you want to buy a physical copy, but, you know, why are we doing that these days? Get NeverDrive or play with an emulator or whatever. So that's it. That turned out okay. I think it's still over an hour because, you know, this is still Classic Gaming Quarterly. That's going to do it for this episode of Classic Gaming Quarterly. As always, thanks for watching. See you guys next time.